Boom shakala, enough of that. We are recording. We are live. We are. What was it? What was I? What did I have? Only the crumpliest, flakiest chocolate tastes like chocolate never tasted before. How's things? How's things with you, boys and girls? Hope everything is well with you. We are just starting up. Looks like YouTube didn't put up any notification or let you know that we would be streaming earlier tonight at 8:30, but we'll crack on nevertheless. Hopefully, the faithful may join us up. Everybody's doing their own celebrations and doing their thing. Why? Okay, let's go back to Roma. So, as it says, I did have one article that I wanted to play out tonight, and the rest of the stream shall we say, a what is this? Just be interaction with live chat there. So there's an AMA to it as well. And if you're of a mind, might do a little celebratory drink at the end. I kept one from the weekend. And we'll crack a tinny on the way out the door. Wish everybody a happy Christmas, and we shall talk about all things Christ and try and bring the Christ back into the spirit of things, filling up the house. Appreciate that. Ushakt, very good, very good. Like I said to you, there's a little bit of twitches and schisms going on with Rumble. This will be the last streams. I've made a determination tonight to switch over to Linux. I may keep a version of Windows on a smaller drive somewhere else, but we're gonna go all in on Linux because the Windows 11 is just an absolute dog. Apart from the fact that they keep dropping in the AI Copilot, and it keeps taking snapshots of your screen every 3 seconds, and probably won't allow you to run a local LLM, live language model, or AI to you and I. But I am going to just sit in and interact with you guys. So keep questions if there's any question. I'm not saying too much on the live chat function here. Um, as I say, it's just going to be a casual hangout. I'd imagine everybody's got always have their own thing to do. So if you do, D Live is also in the house. I do believe Nazloom is over there. I'll just say hello to Naz, always there. And we'll see if anybody's popping in wants to have any questions, or did I make a complete banjax of it and not notify anybody? Where is even the live chat on the screen? Am I able to bring that up there now? Probably not. Campaigns, live chat. There we go. Big shout out. Hello. I can see all the. I was pressing the wrong button again. I can see a Rumble chat and YouTube chat up here, but I just have it there for myself. I don't seem to have it. I don't seem to have it up on the screen here above. But look, nonetheless. So, for any of you just jumping in or joining in or just sitting there back and relaxing, if you have any questions, throw them in there in the chat in the pot. I'm not going to spend the whole stream just reading out articles and telling you things that you're all very well versed on, I'd say, and we're all paying attention to the different platforms. Quiet house tonight, I'd say, because the notification didn't go out. People probably aren't going to check in. We'll see how it turns out at 9:30 or 9 o'clock. See if anybody checks in. But for those of you that are here, if you're of a mind, do make your feelings known. I'll see if I can switch over to the presentation. I suppose once I go into this mode, I don't think it's going to jump back. But here we'll go for it anyway. I'll go for the entire screen. I'll go for that one there. See if it drops us out over here. I'm just going to go through a selection of Twitter feeds. Like I said, I did have the article. I do have an article from a good friend of mine over on Irish Nunty, and I did promise I would read it out. So, irregardless of whether you guys, if any of you guys do turn up, I'll just go through this quickly. Not go through it. 5 by 5. Thanks for that, John Doyle. Great to hear you. Thanks very much for the support. Just draw your attention to this article here. Homelessness issue now driven by migratory pressure. They're finally admitting, or it's okay now to admit, it's official. Ireland is now agreeing with the far right, or everything that we've been saying for donkeys. All of us have been saying, not just you and just you, myself, but yourself included. So they're finally coming out and have been forced to have been forced to come out and admit that there is a correlation and a causation between housing crisis and migrant and immigration. There is a correlation between waiting lists, waiting lists at all, and migration. Everything spirals down from migration. I've said it constantly. Big hello to Usak Hunt, big 5x5 from Parnell Square. Parnell Square. Right in the heart, right in the epicenter, Usak. I hope I'm pronouncing that right as well. Just chill out and hang. I don't believe kicking and we're live again. We're live again, boys and girls. We just keep it going. I'll jump over here to see who's over here. Hooper, how you getting on? Get out to you. We're still in the trenches. I think we're going to be in the trenches for a long time, for the longest of times. Bloody frog, persistent. That's what you get when you're chuffing on 10 to 15 a day. Definitely going to be in the trenches. Things are going to. I know I've said it pretty much every stream that we've said, but every year I said we're on the escalation escalator. Things just ramp up year on year. But coming up to this now, 27, the financial system has to make a move. Everything's in place for the digital currencies to drop into play now. Will there be a financial cataclysm that will happen to usher in the new digital age? I mean, everybody and the dog in the street knows exactly what's going on, so I'm sure everybody is prepared. Like I said, just waiting for you to jump in with any of your questions or any of your AMAs. We have, as soon as you go on Kick, there's all these bots going. Would you like to have more subscribers? Would you have the like? Let's get your channel up. There's a lot of bots over there on Kick, so we'll leave that be. I want to drive up the usage on it so I can start getting parameters. And again, I want to kind of play ball with YouTube as well. Not that I don't want to risk it, but I want to use it to big hello from Siobhan, 5x5 to you as well. I did say I was going to read that article out as well from Irish Nunty. You just reminded me there again. And I did. Don't know if you're just checking in there now. Let me bring up. And like I said, I'm going to read this article just primarily for an edit. I don't know if you noticed during the week or in the week, if you had a chance, I just did one of those little shorts. I actually got an editor from, Fiverr. Because back in the day, my good friend John, before he departed this earthly realm, used to do all my edits and all the videos for it. We had quite a decent collaboration. John was very busy in his own gig as well, but an artist of his time, sad loss to us all. I know I keep reminiscing about him, but it was a huge part of the early part of the Gran Torino streams. Great, pretty much my producer and editor at the same time. Pronounced Uzak. Thanks for that. Uzak. Yeah, I had it right. I wasn't too far off it. EU. Thanks for the phonetic. Always have. Big hello to Marge Manola. Marge Manola 300 from New Zealand. I hope you're keeping well. I do love to be able to see how things are going on over in New Zealand. My two are over in Australia and they're having a whale of a time over there. And no sign of them wanting to come back. But we have to turn this crazy ship around to give them a reason to come back. Now, I read through this article during the week. It's very well put together. And it is a little bit of a reprimand for us all to understand the actual spirit of Christmas, why we're actually going about it. Now, I'm going through my own spiritual journey. As I know, most of the enlightened are going on, where we all understand that we are on a spiritual journey, on a spiritual path, and we are fighting desperately against demons, dimensions, all things going forward. And we just need to keep pursuing it. So I read this article of Nunti sent it forward to me for review, and they have it up on their website, and I will share the website to you there in live chat as well. And like I said, please consider popping up some of your questions to I posted that over there. Let me know. It's up over on Rumble. Let me know if it just pops up on your chat over on YouTube there. I don't see it popping up there as well, so I'll have to go over and do that manually as well. So the big thing for next year will be swapping over to the Linux system. There, like I said, speaking on collaborations as well, speaking to a recently new acquaintance, someone doing their own thing over on TikTok, and I'm going to speak to them in regards to collaboration stuff like that for the conversations and get the conversation going here and the podcast up and running in earnest. And let me know uh, if I missed any of your questions there as well. It's great to see the room filling up. I apologize. I did set a notification, would you believe, in and around 5:30, 6 o'clock, but YouTube didn't seem to get the post. So slowly but surely the faithful do run in. There's no pressure on tonight. There's no destination other than for those of you joining late, I will be cracking a tinny just at the end there, just to have a point. So if you are indulged, if you do fancy it, we'll have a little toast together. Sheepdog says, "What do you think of President-elect Connolly's Christmas message?" I didn't get it at all. I refused to watch anything at all. I'm sure everything she said was on the DEI spectrum. I know a couple of the tweets that I'd seen earlier on. I wonder if it is over on the Twitter, but they're talking about tolerance and an inclusivity, all the buzzwords, everything that we've come to know and abhor. I'll drop down here. I am getting fairly sticky on the buttons here. I don't know if it's up in any of the posts there. And again, I don't have any of the video montage to play out there because of the sound issue. And I was just thinking, and what if I'm going to go muck around with OBS again? Might as well go straight over to on Linux and just do it off bat. But like the presidency itself, the whole presidency. I'm not a big fan of the presidency, as none of us, not my president and stuff like that. Certainly not someone that's going to stand up to the globalists. She's going to sign off on every bill. She probably use it as leverage to get some of the stuff, the lefty propaganda that they want to get in on board as well. So there will be a bit of offset, and as the oligarchs fight amongst themselves about which bills they want to push through. But another red pill was dispensed during the week, which in regards to the lefties' proposal to extend the abortion to pre-birth up to 9 months. I have stated, and you all know my position that this was the Pandora's box, and that they are not finished marching towards 9 months. They will go for post-birth. They will look for what would happen in the case of an abortion and the aborted fetus. They'll call it a fetus at that stage, not a baby, not a fully formed baby, even at post-birth. And you remember that Texas Governor Gregg said in that radio interview that spoiled it when they were doing the exact same. He said we'd put the I think he said fetus. We'd put it to one side, and then we would have a conversations with the caregivers, not the parents, the caregivers. But I'll stick to your question there. The Christmas message, as I said, she will be the globalist puppet, and she will sign off on every legislation that they push in, including the Migration Pact, including the Mercosur deal as well, that the farmers all around Europe are up in arms about, but none of the Irish farmers seem to want to kick up on it. I was listening to Crow on the elections over on TikTok there as well. There's a good padre and a good cohort of nationalists over there trying to push the message out. I know a good few of them have their own YouTube channels as well and podcasts. And I'm very well aware now of my position in all of this as well. Hence why I'm kind of like, I'm not just going to keep going, look at this and look at this over there. Prepare. Just going to hang out with you guys from now on. And then I'll increase the format in the year. But the main impetus on starting streams up again was to just get back into the swing of things and to see if I still fancied it. Parts of me, like, as I said to you, the introverted side of me kind of likes sitting in here and just watching from afar. Still very much of the mindset that it's, mission complete. Mission complete for myself personally was to get more people on board, to get the consciousness aware, and I've certainly achieved that, and I feel like mission achieved on that position as well. That I've done my part, and I'm still doing my part, but I still think it's very important. Those with any sort of presence and platform to just continue speaking out. But I did enjoy my hiatus, and it was well needed personally for personal situations to go. And like I said, suffered that second ego death as well. But Connolly's Christmas message, just buzzwords, just EI bullshit, just going through it, and like the Late Late Show, just roll out the circuses for that side. Shawnee Max says Connolly was selected and not elected overall. She only got about 17% of the nationalist vote if you include spoil votes. Jim Gavin's votes on the near 60% who didn't even turn out to vote, and he got ran out anyway because he was Martin's selection. He was just put in there primarily to block Bertie Ahern. Big Bertie wanted to get his paws back on some sort of powers. I'm sure did not make enough. Did you not make enough money when you sent it was either Open Society. Well, he made Irish Aid sent some 200 million. I can't remember exactly the destination now. It's been quite some time since we brought that up as well. But doing the same thing that Ukraine did, begging for money and then pittering it out to the different organizations so they can keep the corruption going, pay off all their patsies. You'll see now that on the international stage now, the war will come to a conclusion. It seems Trump and Putin are getting together to give the Russians exactly what they set out for and would not help. The four regions are going to get back. I said when the big landmass moved that they would push to the Dnieper River, which is a natural border between what's left of the federal states of Ukraine, or kissing the federal states of the Ukraine, and it will be a buffer zone, and it will have a Russia friendly sort of government in place for them to create the NATO buffer zone. So Zelensky's going to get wiped off the face of the earth. The denazification will go ahead over a period of time. That will be down to the Russia friendly government that'll put in place, and will run the banderites out as much as they can. How you can do that through the Ukrainian populations because it's embedded, but any Ukrainian, most of them that I met over here, especially in the early days when the City West opened up and they were coming spiriting out into local shops, and it was just the attitude, the whole when we slowly started to lose these parts of cohesiveness and homogeneity, all of us for a period of time, when you're stood in a line of shops, you give a 2 step backs, 3 step backs. Every new foreigner that comes in is on your shoulder, practically looking at you, trying to type your PIN number in. They don't understand personal space or anything like that at all. And the attitude of entitlement is just off the hook. Connolly couldn't even bring herself to mention why we Christians celebrate Christmas, which is why I think it's imperative not only for them to hear us, but for us and to listen in about the meaning and the message of Christmas and to return to it as well. I did say earlier on that we're all on our own spiritual journeys as well. I am fully, I am a follower of Christ. I'm a follower of Jesus, a follower of Jesus. And I think I'm keeping it on the simple terms as following Jesus. You can't go wrong. Just listen to his commands, because it is only through Jesus that we can find our way to our Heavenly Father's kingdom as well. And it's amazing to me the amount of people that are ignorant of the Trinity and the whole understanding. You'd understand it from Muslims and from Islam and stuff like that, because they're trying to destroy it. And I am just loving the online discussions between in the theological section between Christians and Muslims, coherence of Islam, because they're just getting their best scholars are getting decimated because of their incursion into Western civilization, where they have to talk to us, but I won't go too far down the pot. I couldn't do a G podcast to do GT. You must have kissed the Blarney Stone. It's repetition. It's pushing yourself out there if you feel compelled enough to do it. For me, I've gone through this many times. Everybody's well positioned. It was a case of, if not me, then who? Because I was in the perfect position. Nobody else was doing it. And we wanted to get out and get the coverage, the small demonstrations that were taking place there as well. Foreigner fatigue is exhausting. It is, isn't it? It is. And when you think we are at 22%, we are at 22.5% foreign national born. I have a picture there of the number of foreign born population in Western European countries, and we are not. We are getting slaughtered there, along with the Germany. Germany's at 20%. Let me just throw that up there for you. Entire screen. As you can see from that diagram there, So we're at 22.6% the UK. Even like I said, because it is quite a huge landmass, the UK stretches out a bit. It can mask like that is now even at standing. And I would say these are all accurate as well. I'd say it's very well further above, but even at what 17.1%. But look at us in like 3 to 4 years, along with the 15 to 20 years previous. Like, but the last 4 or 5 years has been absolutely off the hook, and that's hence where we are where we are. I have to do it the manual way. We're at 40% when you include second generation. Yeah, now the conversation, Siobhan, is also getting to the stage. I have to shift that out, but the conversation online, and it's becoming more mainstream, and that's hence the title for tonight. And you'll see the thumbnail. I've used Mike Connell's Satirical Soldiers, one of his posts there. I'll go over to it and read it to you from Rough. But on the thumbnail, if you haven't caught it, is so many buttons. So many buttons. Where is it here? Let me stroll up there because he always does. Satirical Soldier on the thumbnail as well. And these would be the points. Oh, the scaldy red eyes, folks, tired eyes, working today as well. Satirical puts it out again. These are probably tenets for nationalists to consider. But the talk of denaturalization and re-immigration, I'd like to try and include the word myself, and to all you lovely guys as well. Start bringing the word internment in as well, because all these not even foreign born, but all these criminal illegals that are in here will have to be held in a place and be incentivized to deport themselves and self-deport. But Mike put it down here. Number one, leave the EU. Number two, revoke us. Now, Mike goes at it hard here. I'll put it up on the screen. I'll put it up on the screen there again, so you can see what I'm talking about here. Hey, is leave the EU, revoke all citizenship since 1975. That's kind of like denaturalization as well. This is hardcore, but these are, if we don't put down the tenants or expectations or demands. I won't like to call them demands. Deport foreigners on the welfare system, a big one, straight off the bat. No entitlement. Deport all Muslims. That's a gang. That's a big gang for me. I know lots of the lefties and lots of people will be going, you can't say that. I fucking can. I fucking can. Islam is totally incongruent with Western civilization. And we have got some 398 mosques on the growing, and every local council in Ireland is allowing the planning of mega mosques to come in. So we have a big situation on our hands at 22.5 or even 40%, as you said, Siobhan. That is going to take someone doing, and it's going to have to take positions like this that Mike is laying down here as well. Deport all Muslims, repatriate refugees to their homes, and reward families. Like when the war comes to a conclusion, every fucking Ukrainian needs to be said like, wrap it up, off you go. Every one of them modular homes that they were given has to be given to the 16. We could wipe out the homelessness situation in Ireland straight off the bat and put them in modular homes straight away. Now, on the sharp side, I'll finish off there. Reward families who self-deport. Yeah, I agree with that. And set strict limitations on foreign workers. 100%. We are awash in fraud. We are awash in fraud. You know that as well. Let me stop sharing there. But they're good starting points. They're good starting tenant positions. You know what I mean? Some little bit extreme. No, well, just that 175. I'm sure when Mike comes in, he can expand on that. I'm saying from 2005, we can have an embarkation point, because 2005 was when the Irish population voted on the rejection of birthright citizenship. So anything after that, and I've always said, and I'll remind you again, fruit of the poisonous tree, fraud vitiates everything. Everything that was produced by the fraudulent government, Dáil 33, Dáil 32, previous, but up until 2005, as a starting position, all citizenships, all remain to leaves are gone, are cancelled. All naturalizations are denaturalized, and you can reapply again. And it goes back to the old standard. But it's becoming more derriere talking about re-immigration. I was listening to Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, and he lays it out quite simply, as we have said, as I have said. These things can be quite done, even from the little thing that Mike's put up on his there as well, straight off the welfare system. denaturalization. You've no passport control, and you've no access. You've no longer no access to the welfare system, but you're not allowed to work either. So and this comes into effect in 6 months. So you have time to plan, and you have time to return to whensoever you can, because you can't work here. Now they go through the whole human rights shit, the Human Rights Act that they'd be trying to give in, or try to bring in legal action as all that. You can do that all at your own expense, because you won't get any legal aid for a start. All these criteria will have to be set out, but we should be discussing them now, and we should be discussing them here in mainstream, so that becomes part of the zeitgeist and general conversation. The left are going to freak out. Antifa is going to flit out and have its temper tantrums and stuff like that. Now, and I'm going to read out Irish 90s article. I haven't forgotten about it as well. And just bear with, I'm going to go through it from start to finish, because I want to cut it and stick it up as a short as well, and put it out on different platforms as well, like TikTok and all that stuff. Get the pertinent points. But I do think it's pertinent for us to read through it as well and understand it. Hooper says mass deportations has entered the conversations of quite mainstream, but it's being mentioned 100%. Children born in Ireland, this is from Shawty Mac. Children born in Ireland to immigrants, parents, and immigrants given naturalised Irish citizenship are classified as Irish in the CSO census status. So the immigrant population in Ireland is over 30%. Yeah, I'd say we're off the hook, like, in that stuff, and that's going to play into part elections going forward now, because they're all RT are propping them up there now. It's time for foreigners to have a seat at the table. Is it? Fuck, you're not entitlement, and like I said to you, the sense of entitlement of them is off the hook. But these mandarins will posh them in and bring them in under the DEI strategy. Social Dems doing everything they can in their power to scupper their own ship. They are completely diversity born and are appealing to that crowd. I just hope that we can bitter that pill or sour that taste with them enough by just keep bombarding them with fucking facts, and then saying, stuff we mentioned 3, 4, 5 years ago that we got laughed out, that got chased out, that got assaulted and attacked for, that you're coming around and you're mainstreaming. Well, there's a lot more that we need to do, and it's going to get a lot harder. So we really do need you to pick up on your awareness and push on forward. What else have we got here? Tail Chaser says there are no refugees in Ireland. Refugees are people who are meant to leave to the nearest safe country and claim refugees. We are on an island. Yes, exactamundo. We know that they're skirting through. They know that they're skirting through. They're being paid, pushed forward. Like, another part of a conspiracy that I would have been dwelling on is that they're going to turn the European landmass into a prison state, not just like the federalized states, but an electric digitized prison, and reduce the global footprint. They're going to push that homogenous, gelatinous mass of people, and they're going to grey it. Like, I heard another nationalist podcast talking about the greying of the European. You know what I mean? Ousting the indigenous born Europeans, the Caucasians, uh, smashing up that homogeneity and just making it a big blob of mocha colored people, not brown, not white, not fully black, not fully pink, not fully yellow, but a mash of everything, and a culture of nothing, and a cohesiveness of nothing, just to be utterly compliant and go along. Anchor babies must go, and all of the babies too. They're the moms and the dads. No argument here. And again, in a process that can be accessed if you've been working from day one, if you've been contributing, if you have a work record and stuff for that. Like I'm saying, green card, that don't hold me to 10 and don't lose the pot. I may go too far, or I may be completely antithetical to what you would say. We can all have our wish list, but it kind of have to all kind of meet in the middle to make it work. Like I agree with the incentivizing of people to self-deport, not at the 10 grand that they're giving individual males so they can get the ferry to the UK and fucking hop down to Rosslare or La Havre even and come back in. Mass deportations is a solution. It is part, but you see the trauma that the normies go through when 100 or when 52 are put through, and then you've got Jim O'Callaghan coming back and saying at it was 192,000 for how many guards had to get on the flight. They're making it look difficult, and then they had the trauma of dragging kids out, pulling out people. We need an Irish ice where people, young fellas, are getting dragged onto planes, crying their eyes out. Fucking get on that plane and get out. That's the attitude. But don't remember the new Lieutenant General that's just taken over the Defence Forces is a DEI inherent. And they use that as a strategy because they understand They need to propagandize their own troops as well. No talk about the oaths of allegiance and the history. The Dars are long. Fucking some harsh words going in there as well. Ban halal, period. Ban Islam. Don't mind fucking halal. Ban Islam. Islam is antithetical. No mosques. You can close them all down. Fucking Clonskea got shut down just like that and hasn't reopened since, primarily because it's part of the Muslim Brotherhood. Our government are perfectly happy to sit in the likes of bed with the Muslim Brotherhood or Hamas or whatever Islamofascist. And you know, in Germany, another place, that word's becoming quite derriere and it's starting to become banned. They don't want you talking about Islamofascism because it's a perfect description of them. The tenets of fascism and the theology of Islam work hand in hand, as they do use the useful idiots of the left. Okay, won't get carried out. Let me jump into this article. I know I keep saying it, but get this one out, not out of the way as such, but let me get it done because it is quite a long thread. It's a long enough thread, but a good read. But do sit back and enjoy the dulcet tones of your host here tonight, the Grand Torino. I will try my very best to enunciate and elucidate on everything that is being spoken tonight. I do really thank you very much for your companionship here tonight on the Grand Torino, and I look forward to discussing this and many more heady topics as we go forward into the evening. See, I can speak, I can slow down, I can enunciate and pronunciate. Maybe next year I might start scripting. I'm hoping to get a teleprompter later on, and then I may start scripting, do some video edits. But I know my system, and I'm getting to the article, but my system is struggling with Windows 11 and I can't do edits. And I've given up on edits. I kind of like the live streams because it's interactive. It's straight there with you and just push it up. But I will get the a video editor from Fiverr and track one down there. I don't think the last fella was too bad. The little short live was good. Just that their location is in Pakistan. So it's kind of, yeah. Look, that's why I miss John. I miss John. Poor John. John was on board. Let's go straight into Irish Nunty's article. And I'll stop the messing around. Let me share this with you first. Bring it up on screen. Chat amongst yourselves, but please do pay attention and listen to this article. I'll drop it down so it fits into the screen. And just have a listen and understand the meaning and the intention of put Mass back into Christmas as well. Not just Christ, but put Mass back into it. I will scale it down one more time because I know I'm still in front of it there, just in case you wanted to read it yourself or read along. And I'll put the old binoculars on too. So I'll give myself a clap in there just for the edit. So there's a sound break and we can just take the cut straight off it, right? So everybody settle down. Settle down. Don't forget, everybody, get your drink and get a drink in hand and we'll have a little toast and celebration after this article. Might start scooping on it early. This from the Irish Nunty. Put Mass into Christmas. Christmas is not a holiday. It is a major religious feast, one of the only two major feasts which the Roman Catholic Church has retained an octave to celebrate. An 8-day liturgy fest without Holy Mass, it does not exist. Christ's Mass is the origin of Christmas. Anything less than Holy Mass at Christmas is counterfeit, softened by sentiment and consumerism. The call to put Christ back into Christmas may sound harmless or even virtuous, but in Ireland, of all places, it misses the real point. Honesty is required if we are serious about defending Christmas, Christ, his teachings, and his one true Catholic Church. The fact of this matter is that Christmas belongs to the Catholic Church and should not be viewed as a neutral Christian festival shared equally by all denominations. It is a Catholic feast, formed by Catholic belief and sustained by Catholic worship. The term Christmas literally means Christ's Mass, which comes from the Old English term Christe Masse, Christes Masse, a combination of the Greek word Christos, Messiah, and the Latin word Missa, Mass, clearly highlighting that it is to be a holy day of obligation centered on the Eucharist and worship. It is a day set aside by Catholic Christendom to celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ with a special Mass, the central act of worship and thanksgiving in the Catholic Church. Without the Mass, Christmas simply does not exist in its original or authentic form. It is a day hijacked by the world. All that profess to be Catholic yet refuse to honour this and go to Mass on Christmas Day are either real life Protestants, impostors, heathens, or just willfully ignorant. You cannot preserve the true meaning of Christmas or merely attempt to preserve it by rejecting Christ's Mass. Putting Mass back into Christmas is about truth. Ireland is a Catholic country, not Protestant, and Christmas begins where it always has, at the altar. The Holy Mass. At Christmas, practicing Catholics do not gather simply to hear a sermon, sing hymns, or exchange greetings. They come to unite themselves with the sacrifice of Christ on the cross. Receiving him truly presents in the most august sacrament of the Eucharist. The Mass is the bodily sacrifice of Jesus Christ, body and blood, offered under the appearances of bread and wine for the living and the dead. It fulfills Christ's command to his apostles on Holy Thursday to, quote, do this in remembrance of me, serving God as worship, thanksgiving, and supplication. The priest, acting in the person of Christ, offers the consecrated bread and wine on behalf of the church, uniting the faithful with his offering and drawing all into true communion with God. Protestant hypocrisy. Many Protestants claim to defend Christmas, yet they openly ignore the one thing that defines the feast, the Holy Mass. They celebrate Christmas with trees, carols, and family gatherings, but cannot participate in the Eucharist, the source and summit of the feast. At the same time, they loudly decry Muslims or foreigners changing Ireland or taking over Christmas, focusing on superficial cultural concerns while dismissing the very thanksgiving to God that preserved Irish faith, culture, and identity for centuries. They claim to uphold tradition and morality, yet reject the devotion, thanksgiving, and sacrifice that makes Christmas. Christmas, in truth, those who ignore the Holy Mass at this very foundational feast of Christ Mass are impostors. They benefit from the Catholic faith that sustained the nation, yet refuse to see the truth and convert. Catholics who have fallen away from the Christ through apostasy, heresy, and hardened hearts, and Protestants who reject the Holy Mass have already reduced Christmas to a secular, worldly holiday, despite their verbal protests to put Christ back into Christmas. Their very lies betray the verbal outcry, since it's their rejection of Christ and his church which have ultimately led to Christmas becoming a watered-down, fake, imposturous cultural and worldly holiday. It is they who have already removed Christ from Christmas, yet they get outraged when Christians' markets are called winter markets to appease non-Catholic foreigners who have moved to our Catholic country. Whilst putting Christ back into Christmas sounds pious at a surface level, it is a cover-up. It dodges the real issue. Christ's Mass has been removed from Christmas. It's now the holiday season. The war to remove the Mass from not just Christmas, but Western civilization has been raging for years. The attack on the true church and the Mass has not happened by accident. It happened because the devil knows what he is doing. The trickle down began with Protestantism, secularism, and naturalism, which led to Christmas being slowly stripped of its Catholic identity. The nourishment to strengthen our souls for the battle with the devil is what sustained our nations since the beginning of Christendom. It isn't any wonder the modern style with which Christmas is celebrated feels hollow. Is it full of superficial symbols, silliness, gluttony, and debt? Sadly, in many homes and families, Christmas, devoid of Christ's Mass, is completely empty of the reverence and awe which should accompany the commemoration of God's becoming man. People defend Christmas trees, lights, advertisements, carols, and greetings while dismissing the one thing that actually defines the feast. A Christmas without Mass is not traditional Christianity. It is a Protestantized substitute, veiled further by consumerism and sentimentality, in the hope that people will not notice what is ultimately a rejection of Christ and the Holy Mass. Ireland's history. In Ireland, the true traditional meaning of Christmas as a feast day has always been by the Mass and defended at great cost. People were once fined, imprisoned, and killed for attending that Mass. Priests said Christmas Mass on hillsides and in barns. Families walked miles, barefooted and hungry, to partake in the great offering. They did not do this for the sentiment or tradition. They did it because without the Mass, there could be no Christ's Mass. Ireland knows what a Protestant Christmas looks like. We've lived under a system that outlawed the Mass while tolerating a stripped down sermon based religion. The result was non spiritual depth, but religious emptiness. When the Mass was removed, faith withered. That same pattern is repeating today, only now under the guise of modern culture rather than penal law. When people in Ireland defended Christmas while ignoring Christmas Day Mass, they are siding with the very forces that once tried to erase it. You cannot honour the faith of your ancestors while discarding the centre of their devotion. Christmas in Ireland is Catholic. It was preserved by Catholics, paid for by Catholics, and sanctified by the Mass. If the Mass goes, Christmas goes with it. Put Mass back into Christmas, not because it sounds traditional, not because it's convenient, but because it is the truth of who we are, where we came from, and what has kept Irish faith alive for centuries. Without the Mass, there is no Christmas, only a shadow of what God intended. And there concludes the message. Thank you very much for sitting in there. And thank you very much to the author for bringing that to my attention in Irish 90. I'll drop that over there for you for later. Let me know your thoughts on that as well. Encouraged me enough to say that I will return for a Christmas math myself this year. As I said, I am going on a spiritual journey myself. I'll just kind of post it up over for you there on a ramble, on a rumble. Let me try over here on the chat. Just trot it up there for you, and I'll catch up on your chat there as well. Thank you for indulging me on that one article there. Let me see if I can catch up on some of your chats while we were going through that. Nearly every family in Ireland has someone in Australia. My two are in Australia. Let me jump back over onto the single side there. I'll just check that I am. Yeah, I am. I just have to go over here and jump in between the different chats and catch up with you there. My guys, I think I'm going to crack open the tinny here now in a second. But as I said, many have gone over to many. Like I said, my two kids are over there, one in New Zealand and Australia. And I nearly more or less said to them, don't come back. You know what I mean? But Australia's no place. Australia's already gone through it now after Bondi. What else have we got in there? It was a real GT. All the buzzwords is right. Yeah, that was in relation to the Catherine Connolly speech there as well. There are no refugees in Ireland. Refugees are people who are meant to leave to their nearest safe country. I think we got through that one. Isn't there a country that did similar before? They revoked citizenships of Russians. Can't remember the country at the moment. Yeah, loads of countries do it at different times. It's been done loads of times, and it has happened, and it's part of a natural process as well. There has to be a way of releasing and a pressure valve. They just don't want us to know all about. But sentiment in Ireland would be so against it. Irish people have been deluged in cheap and easy free credit to give the illusion that like people are doing well. Some people are doing financially well, but as a society, we are awash in debt, and it only gets further and further. So although some people are doing well, and by design here of the pandemic and all that everything that's happened, it's fractured now even further. It's going to be a case of the poor are going to get poor, and the rich are already going to get rich. And if you aren't on that escalator now, it's going to be find it near on impossible because the middle class, private property rights, everything will be demolished in a period of time. And it's only if you have great wealth behind you, you'll be able to live comfortably in the new solution that's going forward. We have changed the narrative, lads. Things were unacceptable speech. This is sheepdog. Things that were unacceptable speech only 2 years ago has now entered mainstream. So we have helped to change the convo. 100%. 100%. 172 guards on that flight, GT. Thanks for that, sheepdog. Simon says, GT, the name of the YouTube channel that with Professor Jiang is Predictive History. I have been watching that. I see him on TikTok, but he goes through the Jews, the JQ, and the great noticing that everybody's doing now, like the questions. Like I said, I am over the moon with Generation Z, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha that are coming through because, and I see it happening here in Ireland. I want to talk more on that in a second about our youth that are coming up as well, burning on fire. But we have to try and slow the process down to allow these people to come into the ascendancy and take over the reins of power. So we have to put a blocker on it. Hence why, as an accelerationist, for that very same thing, I pushed it forward. But yeah, your man, Professor Jang, um, sometimes again you got to be skeptical of all things, but he's very much on point in relation to the JQ and any of the financial questions that are being asked as well. The new quantitative financial system that's going to be digitized and put off QFS, that ties in then with Web3, that ties in with Microsoft Windows. Microsoft as an operating system is careering and hurtling towards becoming a subscription operating system. So they are effectively now, by using Windows 11, they can switch you off at the password section. You won't gain admittance if your number one, your subscription isn't up to date, or when it becomes even more digitized, you have the wrong thought. They'll switch your computer at the source. You won't be able to log in. So that's why I'm going to make the jump now to Linux and get behind it and get into it now straight away, rather than try and learn a whole new system like with editing and stuff for that. I've just been using a simple thing called Camtasia back in the day, but to now try and figure out DaVinci Resolve or any Adobes, and all the Adobes now. I used to have Lightroom back in the day, but they're all subscription based now. So it's the WEF format. You will own nothing and be happy. Uh, Holidays come from Holy Day, 100%, Simon. The Catholic Church remains very silent on what's happening to Western Christian society. Silence is complicity, in my opinion. We all see what's happening, and the Institute of God and his teachings remain silent. It's the vicars. The Church of Christ still remains and is what it is. Um, and again, I'm gonna bash heads with Catholics and probably the Orthodox as well. I don't believe that in the sanctity, the outright sanctity of the Catholic Church, understanding it. And I'm not just after reading that article now. I don't want to go on down here and bash and stuff like that, because I'm speaking from a personal perspective, because I'm on a personal odyssey for myself. Christ the Church rests here with me. Yahweh, every breath that I take, speaks his name. Your breath speaks his name. Your fingerprints are encoded with his signature, the Fibonacci cycle. Every spire from the crown of your head, where the Toral field picks from the creation of life that puts us on the earthly realm, is a town to him. But I do, for for tradition, for us as Irish people, because as the author said, it has sustained the nation and sustained people for its devotions to Christ, and it's to bring Christ back in all things. So hence being a Christian national, it is a thing, because we have to be skeptical of all our teachings. You always question your epistemology. Drive myself to fucking derangement sometimes, always on the inner monologue and the inner conversation. Hooper says, well read and a good article. Thanks for that, Hooper. A new pope made his first trip to Turkey, 99% country. Why? He's a globalist. An American pope. That's why I have refused to accept the infallibility of a pope. That's why I only speak and take direction from Christ, or from Jesus and Jesus Christ, for myself. But I understand the catharsis and the process of confessing your sins to the vicar, and adoring and partaking in his ceremony to remember him through the Eucharist. So it's a conversation for another time. Wife and I have taken our 3-year-old son to church nearly every day this month, not to a service, but to an open church, just to be in the place of worship. He's a slow talker, but can say the name of our Lord. Ah, that's fantastic. Igor Bogdanov, 4-5. Igor, appreciate that, Igor. Lovely thing. Growing up for me personally, because back in the 70s and stuff like that, churches are every Sunday, slap around the back of the head if you thought you were late. You can have your choice. You can have a lie in and go to 10:30 mass. You can join the rest of the family at 9:30, or you can try and get in early at 8:30 if you wanted to. There was no mention of this 6:30 mass on a Saturday for convenience. Get the fuck, you know? Wife and I have taken, yeah, we're saying that. Well read, a good article. Thank you for that. Good stuff. Last year, Santa sent me a sweater. This year, I told him I prefer a moaner or a scream. No Blinky in tonight as well. Tall Chaser doing the moderation. Yeah, quite the humorist as well. I'm very skeptical. Jang is overly promoted by algorithms. Yeah, that's where my skepticism comes in as well, Simon. Anything on any algorithm. There's so much AI slop on YouTube now. YouTube is trying to make itself into TikTok, and that's why the long form is losing its plush. People, the newer, I wouldn't say I'd say the majority of people, the sleeping sheeple, their attention spans are just being driven down by the TikTok algorithm, and constant dopamine. And I'm falling victim to it myself. I remember I had it. I wouldn't download it purposefully so that you wouldn't have it on. 36 watching. Yeah, appreciate that Spanish. I'm very skeptical of it, John. Yeah, Spanish chicken says, but sure you're here, lol. I hear you. 100% sheepdog. Thanks for answering that, GT. Is there anything that gets me, to be honest? 100% there, folks. Yeah, keep popping in your questions there. I'm going to jump over to any of the others and see if anybody in. Oh, Surrendable is 5 by 5. Thanks for that, Surrendable. It's over on Twitch. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. There's some interactions over there on Twitch as well. Yeah, Twitch. Gonna call me facile as I'm entering into the autumn of my years. I'm considering keeping the platform alive as well, and hopefully that will allow it to self-sustain itself as well. So, if there is anything, if we do get remonetized by chance, that funding will go into new microphones and help along with the studio and stuff like that. Because everything so far has just been off my own back as well. But we could use some new electronic equipment, some stands and some mics are badly needed. But like I said, that will all expand in the new year. This was just for a process of just getting back into it and getting back in touch with you to see if there was a need for it. Kick still quiet. D live. Oh, look at this. Couple in the house. Sheepdog over there and all. Appreciate that. 5 by 5 over there from Turfbog. Turfbog over on D live. Thank you very much to the Hardy Bees as well. Jump back over to the YouTube. What's the name of that YouTube channel where Professor One is a predictive history? Yeah. I'll jump over to live here. There's a few more messages that are here that aren't over on the other side. Bum, bum, bum. Sure, there you go. Got banned on a few channels. Yeah. Some mods are proper. Yeah, I'll just try and it's matter, and I'm not slacking any of the mods, but I think most of the mods that I have were from way back in the day. Were pretty much on board. Nobody kind of got over themselves or got too power hungry. I was able to allow a decent conversation to flow as well. So as the questions are winding down, I think I'm gonna. How are we doing for time as well? 21:27. So we've kind of come up on the hour. This kind of really would be the cutting off point. Now it's for an hour because not many people, especially now, are going to jump in. But I wanted to read out the article to you. I wanted to give you time for pause for thought, to read it out for yourself, to digest it and understand. And maybe if you haven't done for a while, consider going back to the Mass, just in celebration of Christ's life and stuff like that as well. The sun returns. I changed from the sun because the winter solstice is and it's taking place, but the sun's trajectory now is hovering there in its resting place before it starts returning back to Capricorn on its third day on the 25th, when I think on the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, and redo its period and start its return, and then you'll get the there's a grand stretch in the evening start to come back into play as well because the days will start getting longer. Big thank you to all of you that have turned up. What say you then? Want to crack on for a few more bits and pieces? Any more questions you want to ask, or should we just crack open the beers and crack this one open here? We'll have a quick drink. A toast to your good health and a cheer to you and the family and tidings on this day of celebration, this feast, as we celebrate Christ's Mass. Would any of you would like to partake and join me in a beer, in a drink, in a sip? And I'm not a drinker anymore as well. This is just a touch up as well. Appreciate that. So without any attention, let me know your thoughts in the comment sections after the show. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate you. If you haven't already, please consider liking, subscribing to whatever platform you're watching on this. I want to try and preserve YouTube. I want to try and monetize that so that it'll fund and help the podcast going forward. I want to thank all of you lovely subscribers that have stuck around and are still tuning in to this craziness. Apologies as I go through this process of trying to reimagine. Like I said to you, my heart's not in just coming out. If there's valid things that I may see coming down the line, or you may not have seen it. Returning to cancer. Yeah, thanks for that, Simon. Cancer. My apologies. That's why I love interacting. You get that immediate correction, or it's like the hive mind. But please consider, if you haven't, on Christmas Day to return to to the church and just bring your connection back to Christ. As nationalists, I think it's important. As Christians, never more so either. So we'll have a little toast, a little celebration to you and yours on this time. Please take care of yourselves. I presume next Monday will be another good time. Maybe we'll include a few more extra streams going forward if there is a demand for it. If not, just going to keep these small little local broadcasts for you and yours, just so we can touch in. But please do enjoy your break from work, and please spend time and enjoy your time with all your families and loved ones. And I'll have a toast to you and yours. Sláinte go bhfuil. Oh yeah, that's Bob. Nasty. Okay, live chat. A quick one then. I appreciate you jumping in on this late evening. If you would, your age and your location, if you were where you are in this crazy world of ours, and an age, we can get a kind of a measurement of the reading, and we'll say good night to you as well. A quick roll call, and we'll let you go and enjoy enjoy your Christmas, and we will see you next week, please. Even as I know exactly what you mean. I see that there, Sheepdog and I are all having a chin wag there about mods. I'll have a look. Anybody gets stuck around like that, I can undo it all again as well. But please, for the handful of you here, please, your roll call, your position, your grid reference on this earthly realm of ours, and your age if you're of a mind, and I'll say good night to you. And if you're heading off there now, appreciate you. Thank you very much for your time and for tuning in with us and this Christmas period. Nikki Burns says, happy holidays to everyone. Hello to you, Nikki. Big thank you to you. I hope the wife and you have a great and special time. Big thank you to Spanish Chicken for joining us this evening as well. And Hoops, Sheepdog, and to all of you as well. Who else have we got in there? Sheepdog, Simon says as well. Thank you for that. Talic Chaser or Tonic Chaser, Tom, for you. Shawnee Mac. Big thank you to you, folks. Igor Bogdanovich. Love that name. Igor Bogdanovich. We wait for the roll call, see if we can kick in. Otherwise, I shall let you go. Nikki Burns, big hello to you. Everybody's just having a chin word. Stargirl starting us off there from California. Still cracking on. Appreciate that. Doro and L, very happy Xmas. I know, Doro, you missed the whole article. It's Happy Christmas. Get rid of this Xmas bullshit. I know it's for abbreviation, but force yourself to type it out in long form. Christ's Mass. Happy Christmas. Hooper is joining us from the Peak District in England. Ian XX Talk is Ian from Cornwall in the UK. Appreciate that, Ian. Thanks for jumping in and saying hello. 55, 5x5. All right, we're of a great age, same age as myself. 50 room from Lumniac, from Simon says. In from the words of Glen Bauer by the River Dressor, just like the song GT. Appreciate that, Sheepdog. Jay Carlos says, still in Tipperary and knocking on it. All the 55s are in the house, boys. We're lit. This is our channel. 55 and above, you're okay. 55 and below, you have a lot of catching up to do. We made it this far, boys and girls. 55. Sterling age. We've had a couple of it. We had 84 in here one weekend, and I believe 72. We got some chill boomers in here with us as well. Us 55s at the Gen Xers. I want to try and focus on the Zoomers and the Alphas. They've got plenty of podcasts and stuff like that. But for those in your personal life or our personal lives, to try and reach them and see where their heads are at like that as well, because it's very disheartening. Merry Christmas then jumps in from Jay Cal and from Sheepdog as well. Okay, my friends, I'm going to let you go there. Just a short shrift. Next Monday we'll do. Again, I'm going to be playing around on Kick or Twitch. Just going to be broadcasting over there just to boost them up there as well. Look at that. There it is there. Fuck, there's the bleeding button there, GT. Clondalkin 92. Fanula, I have had this out with you before. You are not 92. You're probably 29 and your dyslexia has the better of you, but you are not 92. Not a chance. Not having it. Not having a bar of it. Says I. Coming to Dublin and Jardy. Jaff, look forward to seeing you. Come over and say hello. Must get in contact, Nikki, when you come over. And do be mindful when you're in the space. Fanula 92. I'm not having a cardboard. Hello and hello to Nikki, SGD. Appreciate that. And a lot of these 55s were 55 10 years ago. Easy now, Tal. Okay, boys and girls, be good to yourselves. Take care, and I'll see you again next Monday as well. Thanks for jumping in, and thanks for your comments. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for your questions as well. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. Azar, what we got there? I can't miss these now. They're just jumping in there. Let me just give you that final there. Where was Az? Az. Hasn't come up over here yet, Az. Hasn't come over there. I missed it there. Across the bomb, Boomer at 63. Okay, boys and girls, appreciate you. I'm going to let you go. You are the bomb, us, everybody. I'll do the short outro as well, so we won't be mucking around. Peace.